Hello, and how are you? This section is about CSS background properties. So here we put four div elements. Div having a class name of first and heading one of first div, and we can copy this section to simply second, third, and simply we can remove or general without class element. Fourth, third one, and second element. So we use internal style sheet instead of head elements. So we use style tag. So in order to apply background color, we use for all div we can say that div element is the background color of, let's say, black. So if you open define, for example, all div elements have background color of black. Then let's apply text color of white. So if you refresh, we see about text elements. So in order to apply an opacity, a behavior which is to change the transparency of the page, we can use it. We can create by simply selecting the div element. Then for the first element, for example, I wanted an opacity of 0.1, which means that is almost transparent. So it becomes somehow white. So you see, it becomes somehow white. We see a little black element as the back. As the opacity becomes increased, the transparency decreases. So for the second element, we can increase that. For example, second, we simply put opacity of 0.5, which means a little bit darker background. If we, for the fourth element, for the div element, for the default one, it's the opacity is 1. By default, for this element, the opacity is 1. And for this element, since we do not apply opacity, also it is 1. So we can change that, for example, by saying div dot start. So opacity of 0.8, which is close to opaque, but still have some transparency. So the opacity 0.3, 0.5, 0.8, and the default 1, which is totally opaque or non-transparent. So this is how we use background color and opacity in CSS. Hello, and how are you? In this section, I will say about how we apply background image inside HTML page using CSS. So in order to apply background image, we use image. So let's first download some image. So I simply goes from Google. So let's about fruits. And image. Here we get this one. So let's save it inside of our file folder, CSS folder. So I put it side CSS. Simply I call it fruits.jpg. After saving that, simply return back, and here we put some elements, the h1 elements, using background image, and we may have a paragraph of oh, it's not working, this first paragraph. So in order to apply background image, we use inside of the head tag or external style sheet, we use the background image property style. Then for the body part, I want to apply it for the entire body. I use background image, then I use URL, which indicates uniform resource locator. So you give the location of the file here. So my name is the image name is fruits.jpg. So you save it, and if you open the image, we see that fruits are applied, and here the background text are applied. So you have to notice that the color and the background image should be compatible. So we will see how we correct that. So in order to apply repetition values, for example, we can adjust background repeat, then we can repeat to X direction only, so that when we refresh it, only the X direction will repeat it. The other behavior is we can repeat it only in the Y direction if you want it to apply only in the Y direction. So the Y direction is repeated. Or the default one is it is simply repeat. So it repeats both in the X direction and in the Y direction. This is how we apply background image. Hello. In this section we will see about background image position. So in the previous section we see about how to apply background image and the repeat properties. Repeat X, repeat Y, and no repeat. So if you don't want to repeat it, you can say simply no repeat. So it only shows at one place. So if we open this, only at one position is shown. So the other property is the background position. So we can adjust, well, we can use simply background then position. So the position property have four values: top, bottom, right, and left. So we want to put it at right, then top. So which means right at this section and at the top. So if you refresh it, the image becomes at right and top. If you wanted to change it to bottom, we can apply right and bottom. So sorry. So in order to make it at the bottom of your screen, right bottom, we use right and the vertical direction to bottom. So let's refresh the page. It becomes at the top of the page. But this is caused by the body element and the HTML elements does not have enough height. So in order to apply that, we use height elements for the body element and the HTML elements to be height of 100%, which means the height of the screen becomes 100 and the body holds that value. So when we save this and refresh it, we get at the right bottom. That is it. Hello and how are you doing? In this section we see about background attachments. Background attachments is to define the behavior of the image to be fixed when we scroll the page, or it will be scrolled with the content. So in order to apply those, as we see, we apply or we put the basic structure. So we have paragraph and the heading element, and for the body element we see the background image, repeat property, and the position property to be right at top. So when we see this page, see that the image is at right and top. When we scroll it, the default is it scroll with the image. So if we increase, for example, the height to be 150 pixels for the HTML and the height, and if we refresh it, and when we scroll it, as you see, the image will be scrolled. But if we define background attachments background, then attachments of scroll fixed. So if we refresh the page and if we scroll, as you see, the attachment is fixed. So it stays at the top right corner. So that is the background attachment for fixed. The default is scroll. So we can say scroll. Now it will be scrolled with the content. So that is the background attachment. By default it is a scroll, so we can make it comment if it is a scroll, but if you use fixed, we have to make it fixed. So it stays where it is. There is no scroll for such elements. Thank you. Hello, and how are you doing? In this section we see about shorthand forms of background. So here we have a basic setup. We copied from the earlier section. So we're in the body section, we have background image, repeat position, and background attachment. So we can apply in simple forms all these. So let's change the title. CSS background short form or shorthand. So in order to apply those background, we simply put the background property, then the values. So the first value is color. So we apply it to as blue, which indicates background color. And the second one is background image. So we use URL, then the value of the image, foods dot jpg. Then the third one, it is a repetition or background repeat. So we can say no repeat, or repeat repeat y, or simply repeat, or we can leave it. And the fourth one is background position. So we say top, right, then top. And the last one, it is the attachment type. So scroll or fixed. So as you see, now we apply the background color, the background image, the background repeat, the background position for two of them, and the background attachment type. Now all these are unnecessary. So simply we make it comment for the time being. And we save the file, and when we open the shorthand form, we see that the background is blue, having the heading, and the attachment. So simply if I want to change the attachment to bottom, I can change it to bottom. So if I refresh it, I get it as the bottom of the page. So that is the shorthand form of background. So if you want to leave the value, for example, if I want to change to repeat it, I can repeat and I get some background colors. But if I want to remove the repeat property totally, I can remove it so that the CSS knows which elements, which type of properties to be applied on the HTML. That is how we apply the shorthand form of CSS backgrounds. Thank you.